USC is one of the more intriguing teams in college football. They have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner and quarterback Caleb Williams, but are they good enough to compete for a national championship? And if not, what will hold them back? Let's discuss with Jack Stern. He is a columnist, anchor, and associate producer for CBS Sports Radio, and he joins me now. Jack, how you doing? The last time we talked about week 0. Now it is week 1. I got to think you're really excited for these week 1 matchups coming up.
Oh, I'm really excited for all of the matchups tomorrow. And the two big games that took place last night certainly didn't disappoint. I mean, I don't know how the Florida Gators are going to survive the rest of the season. They have 4 games against ranked teams, lost 24-11 to a really tough Utah team that was without their starting quarterback and Cam Rising as he recovers from a torn ACL. But the really good contest last night, Dexter, was Minnesota-Nebraska, where the Huskers lost an absolute nail-biter, 13-10, in Matt Rule's debut. That was the perfect appetizer to get us ready for the entree tomorrow.
There you go, the entree tomorrow in week 1, but we're going to talk about one team here. We're going to talk that we saw in week 0, and that is the USC Trojans. We saw their offense do what we expect them to do, right, Jack? And that's put numbers on the board, 58 points against San Jose State. So how good do you think the USC offense can actually be this season?
Well, the sky's the limit for this Trojans offense. Also, when you keep in mind and consider that they're playing in the Pac-12 and don't really have to face any of the elite defenses in the SEC, ACC, and Big Ten, they're going to be able to dominate on a pretty consistent basis. And Lincoln Riley did a really good job in bringing in some really talented pieces. They added Dorian Singer, who was one of the top receivers in the Pac-12 a year ago from Arizona. And obviously they have 2 upperclassmen in Taj Washington and Brendan Rice, who are very explosive and prolific playmakers as well. Also, I didn't even get to mention the reigning Heisman Trophy winner in Caleb Williams. This offense is extremely talented. They have all the potential in the world. And as long as they don't turn the ball over, I don't think any of the defenses that they play are going to be able to stop them. So this is a unit that's probably going to be averaging somewhere between 35 and 45 points a game when it's all said and done.
All right, so you got them as a well-oiled offensive machine, but we got to look at the other side of the ball. On the other hand, San Jose State, they put up 28 points on the Trojans. Is the USC defense where it needs to be in order to be considered a national title contender?
No, it's certainly not where it needs to be. And I think that Lincoln Riley kind of acknowledged that when he decided to bring in 5 new starters on that side of the ball. Last year's team was certainly not good enough. They had 2 really bad losses to the Utes in shootout type games. And I think he kind of came to this realization that if we can't stop defenses, we're not going to be able to outscore everyone. That's probably what kept them from making a run at the playoff last year. And in my opinion, that's what's going to prevent them from maybe making a run this year. That unit is really leaky. They give up way too many deep plays. And listen, I know it was the first game of the year and San Jose State is a Mountain West powerhouse. But at the end of the day, you cannot give up 4 touchdowns to a school from the Group of 5 conference. It's just not going to work. You need to be a lot more productive. And not only do you need to get stops and get off the field on 3rd down, which is something that they struggled with in that game, but you need to find a way to force turnovers and get the ball back to that offense so that they can go to work. Right now, I don't think that defense is capable of doing that. And as I wrote about in my column on CBS Sports Radio, that's probably going to be the biggest hindering factor of them potentially going on a run late in the season.
So you've got the defense as that biggest hindering factor for them in terms of competing for a national championship. And you also mentioned the head coach there, Jack. Lincoln Riley and his teams, they've never been known for their defense. And the USC defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch, he's been with Riley since his Oklahoma days. So the Trojans defense, I think we're being nice here if we say it appears to be mediocre. What needs to change in order for it to get better? Is it the talent or is it the coaching?
You know, I'm going to say it's a little bit of a combination of both. I think that they need to do a much better job recruiting the defensive side of the ball. Admittedly, Riley has always been very offensive oriented. He's a quarterback's coach by trade. We all understand that he likes to kind of get in the offensive meeting rooms and allow his defensive coordinator to take care of that side of the ball. It was an interesting decision to bring in Alex Grinch because though that Oklahoma unit did improve when he was the defensive coordinator there, they still were never playing at an elite level. And when you consider that USC is in one of the most fertile recruiting grounds in America, has a storied program, and has all the potential being in Los Angeles in the name, image, and likeness era, I think they could have done a much better job of bringing in the country's premier talent. With that being said, I think college players are only as good as their head coach. And after watching Grinch for a number of games in a season in SoCal, he hasn't done a very good job calling plays. I think the weird conservative defense on 3rd and longs where he decides to blitz and send everyone leaves the secondary very vulnerable. He seems a little bit out of sorts in terms of substituting personnel, and it's the little attention to detail things that really worry me about Grinch. I do believe that in the offseason, if this continues and USC loses a couple games and underachieves as a result of the leaky defense, Riley is going to have a very, very tough decision to make, and a longtime good friend. But with that being said, he has all the connections and resources to bring in a top defensive coordinator. To be honest with you, I was a little bit surprised he didn't try and do that last year. You saw Colorado go and poach Alabama assistant defensive coordinator Charles Kelly. I think that would have been an excellent choice. There's also a number of SEC position coaches that are up and coming at Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M, some of the other elite programs in that conference. Why not try and tap that well instead of getting complacent with the guy you already have in place who, frankly, didn't do a very good job last season?
Yeah, you wonder if Lincoln Riley will be willing to make that change. Probably not during the season, but if it comes to it at the end of the season, if they fall short of their national title aspirations, USC that is. That is Jack Stern, columnist, producer on CBS Sports Radio. Does some great stuff there. Check out his column about USC and their defense and what they need to do to change things there. Jack, always good talking with you. Now go enjoy that main course in week 1 of college football.
I'll do just that. Thanks for having me, Dexter.